Welcome, and thank you for purchasing the Akai DR4d hard disk recorder. I'm Mike McRoberts, and I'm Product Manager for Akai Products. This video will take you through the basic functions of the DR4. Operating the DR4 is quite easy due to the layout of buttons assigned to different functions. Many of the buttons on the DR4 serve two functions. The primary function appears at the top, and the secondary function is highlighted in white underneath. These secondary functions are called submenu functions and can be accessed by pressing the submenu key followed by the button for the desired function. Certain functions require that you enter a value or select from a choice. Data entry for these is done by either using the 10 key pad, the jog wheel, or the shuttle wheel. We'll discuss each choice as it applies. The first thing you need to do is to connect the DR4 to your mixer. On the back are four 1/4 inch tip ring sleeve input jacks and output jacks. These jacks allow you to use either balanced or unbalanced connections to your mixer. Using a balanced connection with a 3-conductor cable is the preferred way to go. However, many mixers use 2-conductor unbalanced connections. Connect the bus or main outputs of your mixer into the line inputs on the DR4. Then, connect the DR4's line outputs to either tape returns on your mixer or to input channels. The switches by the inputs and outputs are used to match levels from your mixer. Check the owner's manual of your mixer to see its input and output level. If your mixer operates at +4 level, set these to +4, and if your mixer runs at -10, set them at -10. The digital I/O is for connection to your DAT recorder. The XLR inputs and outputs are for professional AES EBU digital format, and the RCA jacks are for consumer SP DIF format. Once again, check the owner's manual of your DAT to see which you need to use. Operating the DR4 is very similar to operating a standard tape recorder. You have familiar play, stop, fast forward, and rewind buttons. The 0 return button instantly rewinds to 0. You can also use the jog shuttle wheels to get around. The outer shuttle wheel moves the DR4 forward or backward at 4 different speeds. The fastest speed doesn't actually change the pitch, but instead skips sections of the audio, making it easier to hear what you're doing. The jog wheel allows you to manually play back the audio any speed up to normal. This is very useful for zeroing in on a particular section. The display reads out in timecode, a format originally from the video world. The display will run from 0 to 24 hours, and each pair of digits from the left to right represent hours, minutes, seconds, and frames. A frame is approximately 1/30th of a second and is the smallest unit. The display also shows messages and error codes. There are 6 dots on the display. The first dot lights if the disk is being accessed, and the second dot flashes during disk access if the disk is working optimally. If it stays on, this is an indication that the disk is fragmented and needs to be aligned. This is discussed later in this video. The dots after the last 4 digits on the right indicate that audio has been recorded on tracks 1, 2, 3, and 4. The DR4 has 8 instant access memory locations, 100 additional stack memory locations, and in and out locations for editing. Pressing any of keys 1 through 8 will instantly take you to a preset location. Location points are grabbed whenever the store enter key is pressed, whether the DR4 is playing or not. Press that key and the display blinks, then simply hit one of the 1 through 8 buttons to store it. To recall a location in the stack memory, press the stack key and then a 2-digit number from 00 to 99. To store a location point there, press the store enter key followed by stack and then a 2-digit number. You can also grab a location and store it in either the in point or out point. Sometimes it's useful to back up a certain number of seconds before a location. To do this, press the pre-roll key. This will subtract a preset amount of time from any location. The amount of time is set by first pressing the submenu key, then pre-roll. You can enter a time value by using the keypad, jog wheel, or shuttle wheel. Recording on the DR4 is very straight ahead. The first thing to do is to set the sampling frequency. This is done by pressing the submenu key and then the number 7 FS key. You can choose 48 kHz, which is the consumer DAT and digital video rate, 44.1 kHz, which is the CD rate, or 32 kHz, which is commonly used for radio broadcast. The 32 kHz rate has restricted frequency response. Next, use the input select keys to choose either analog or digital inputs. The default is analog. If you selected digital and there's no digital source connected to the back, you'll get an error message. Select the track to record on by pressing one of the record keys. Digital recording can't go over 0 or you'll get a nasty sound. A rule of thumb is to set your mixer up so that when the output meters read 0, the DR4 meters read -15. This allows headroom for peaks in the music. If most of the music does not have any drastic peaks, set up the level so that the DR4 records as close to 0 as possible without going over. By doing this, you get the maximum dynamic range out of the DR4. To start recording, press the record key followed by the play key. When you're done, press stop. Press 0 return and you'll instantly rewind to the beginning. If you don't like what you've recorded, hit the undo button and start over. You can also punch into an existing recording in one of 3 ways. There are 2 important keys used for punching in. The first is the rehearsal key. When this is pressed, it allows you to rehearse a punch without actually recording it. The second is the auto monitor key. When this key is off and a track is armed for record, you monitor the input source to that track. For normal recording, this is what you want to do. If the auto monitor key is activated, it monitors what's on the disc until the DR4 is put into record. For purposes of punching in and out, when the auto monitor is active, it plays from the disc until the DR4 goes into record. Then it switches to monitoring the source while recording, and when the DR4 punches out, it switches back to disc playback. To manually punch in, first select Auto Monitor if desired. Press the record keys for the tracks you want. At the point you want to punch in, hold down the record key and then press the play key. At the point you want to punch out, press the play key again. Your punch points will also be stored in the in and out locations. They are not stored if you press the stop button before the play button. Once they are stored, though, you can use them with the auto punch feature. To punch in with a foot switch, first plug the foot switch into the appropriate jack on the front. Arm the desired tracks and press play. At the punch-in point, press the foot switch once, and at the punch-out point, press the foot switch again. You can also do an automatic punch in and out using the auto punch feature. This will go in and out of record at the in and out locations. The in and out locations are also used for editing functions. Marking in and out points is just like storing any location point. The easiest way is to play the DR4, and at the point you want to punch in, press the Store Enter key followed by the In key. At the punch out point, press the Store Enter key followed by the Out key. To listen to just the region to be recorded, press the Play key. This will play one time between the in and out points. If you hear a slight audio glitch at the out point, nudge the jog wheel a little and then press Store Enter and Out. This will store a new out point. To check just the in point, first press the in key and then press play to out key. This will start playing and stop exactly at the in point. If you hear a glitch, nudge the jog wheel and set a new in point. You can also loop the region between the in and out points. Simply press the repeat key followed by the play key. The playback will loop seamlessly between the in and out points. This is a great way to check the rhythmic accuracy of a punch or edit. To perform the auto punch, press the record buttons on the desired tracks and auto monitor if desired. You need to start playback before the actual in point, so you can rewind before it or press the pre-roll key followed by the in key. Now press the auto punch key, then the play key. The DR4 will punch in and out automatically. Obviously, it is best to rehearse this first, but if you make a mistake, just hit the undo key and try it again. One of the great features of the DR4 is the ability to edit. There are 7 different edit functions on the DR4, and all but the insert edit work on the region between the in and out points. The different functions work like this. Copy copies the section between the in and out points and pastes it a number of times in the same or another location. It overwrites any audio on the disc at that point. Copy Insert copies the section between the in and out points and inserts it a number of times in the same or another location. It shuffles audio past the insert point down in time. Move cuts the section between the in and out points and pastes it a number of times in the same or another location, overriding any audio on the disc at that point. It leaves a gap between the in and out point. Move Insert cuts the section between the in and out points and inserts it a number of times in the same or another location. It shuffles audio past the insert point down in time and leaves a gap between the in and out point. Insert inserts blank time at the insert point and shuffles material ahead of it down by that amount. Erase erases material between the in and out points, freeing up disk space in the process. Delete deletes material between the in and out points and moves material back to cover the gap. The steps for editing are easy. Copy, copy insert, move, and move insert all use the same procedure. First you store an in point and out point, like we did for auto punch. After storing these, use the repeat key to audition them if you wish. Make sure to turn repeat off when you are done. Next, you need to call up a location to send the audio to. This can be a preset memory, or you can directly dial it up on the keypad. Whatever time is showing on the display is where the material will be moved. Now, press the Edit key to select the desired edit function. To move down the list, simply keep pressing it. We'll select Copy and then Enter to lock that in. The display now prompts for the number of times to repeat the region in the edit, similar to looping it. You can select the number of repeats with the jog wheel, shuttle wheel, or the keypad. Next, you select the source tracks and destination tracks. This is done by using the input select keys and the record keys. Notice the arrow by the side of these, from, to. We're going from the tracks on the bottom, or input select keys, to the tracks on the top, or record select. Select the source track first, then the destination track. Now press Enter, and the DR4 screen will say busy while it performs the edit. When the edit is done, it says finished and returns to the normal display. To hear your edit, hit play. If you don't like it, hit undo and start over. The erase and delete edit functions use a different procedure. You still will be working on the region between the in and out points, but now that region will either be erased, leaving a gap, or deleted, leaving no gap. The first step is to mark the in and out points. Next, select either the Erase or Delete Edit function and press Enter. To select the tracks to be erased or deleted, use the Record Select keys. Finally, press Enter again and the DR4 will perform the edit. An insert edit is the only one that doesn't use the in and out points. The insert edit inserts blank time at a particular location. To insert, select a location on the display where you want the time inserted. This can be a preset location, or you can use the Locate key and the keypad to select it. Next, select the Insert Edit function and press Enter. Then use the keypad to enter the amount of time to be inserted. Do not press Enter yet. Select the tracks to insert time on by using the Record Select keys. Now, press the Enter key and the edit will be performed. When doing an insert or delete edit, it's important to remember that if you don't do this to all 4 tracks at once, it may slide tracks around against each other. For instance, if you delete 2 tracks from a chorus, it will slide everything on those 2 tracks back in time while leaving the other 2 tracks unaffected. This may be what you want, but in most cases, delete or insert on all 4 tracks. Synchronization is an important necessity for interfacing different pieces of equipment in the studio. Multiple DR4s can be synchronized, and the DR4 can synchronize with MIDI sequencers and SMPTE timecode. When working with MIDI, the DR4 can provide a MIDI clock output with song position pointer to drive a sequencer. The MIDI clock controls the tempo of the sequencer, and song position pointer locates the sequencer to wherever the DR4 is. To use MIDI sync, first press the sub-menu key and then the sync key. Use the keypad or jog wheel to select MIDI, then press Enter. Now press the sync button to activate the sync. The display will switch to bars, beats, clocks so that it will match the display of your sequencer. In this mode, the DR4 controls the tempo of your sequencer. Therefore, it is necessary to set a tempo on the DR4. The DR4 is also capable of setting multiple tempo changes, often called a tempo map. To set the tempo, press the Tempo button. No submenu is required for this. The display will look like this. You can use the keypad or wheels to enter a new tempo, then press Enter. If you are using a constant tempo, this is all you have to do. If you want to have tempo changes in the song, you need to do this. Press and hold the tempo key. Use the shuttle wheel to dial up a bar where you want the tempo change to occur. The jog wheel can be used to select a particular beat or clock pulse within that bar. For instance, let's insert a tempo change of 135 at bar 5. We turn the shuttle wheel until bar 5 shows, then we change the tempo. Now press Enter. Notice how the display now has a 2 after it. This indicates tempo change number 2. Continue this operation until you have all the tempo changes entered. If your sequence contains meter changes, such as from 4/4 to 3/4, the DR4's display will not follow these changes. If you wish for the display to correctly follow these changes, you must enter a beat map. Setting the beat map is similar to creating a tempo map. Press the sub-menu key and then the beat key, which is the same key as the tempo key. Set your first time signature by turning the jog or shuttle wheels and press Enter. Now hold down the beat key and the bar's beats clock display will show up. Turn the wheels until the bar you want shows, then press Enter. Like with the tempo change, a number 2 will appear designating this as a second meter choice. Continue this process for all meter changes. To set your sequencer to work with the DR4, you must set it to external MIDI beat clock sync. Since this varies by sequencer, please consult the owner's manual for your sequencer for instructions. Once this is done, press play on the DR4 and play on your sequencer, and the sequencer will start. If you press 0 return on the DR4, the sequencer will return to bar 1, beat 1. Anytime you press a memory location on the DR4, the sequencer will jump to that point. If you start a new song, make sure that you reset the DR4 to 0 by pressing the Reset button so that the bars and beats reset. Version 3.0 software for the DR4 will also add MIDI machine control and MIDI timecode synchronization to the DR4. This was not available at the time this video was made, so please consult the manual update for instructions on that. The second type of sync used on the DR4 is SMPTE timecode. SMPTE is a form of sync that was developed for videotape applications and then found its way into the audio market. It basically is a signal that generates a time reference that is updated every 30th of a second. The SMPTE readout is in hours, minutes, seconds, and frames, just like the display on the DR4. To use SMPTE timecode, first you must plug the output of the timecode source into the input of the IB112T SMPTE interface on the DR4. The source could be a tape machine or a standalone SMPTE generator. Now press the sub-menu key and then the sync key. Set the sync source to LTC by using the keypad or wheels. When using SMPTE timecode, there are various formats used depending upon the application. These are called frame rates and can be set on the DR4 by pressing the sub-menu key and then the time display key. Use the keypad or wheels to select the correct format for your use. The formats are 30 frame. This is the best choice when using timecode from an audio source or generator and when the music is not intended for any video application. 25 frame, this is used if you're doing a project for European video distribution. 24 frame, this is the rate used for film projects. 29.97, this is the rate used for color video applications not intended for broadcast. And last, 30 drop frame. This is the rate used for color video productions that will be broadcast. Select the rate you need and press the Enter button. Now press the Sync button on the DR4. The display will say No LTC. Press the Play button on the DR4 and the display will flash the same message. Start your timecode source and within 2 seconds the DR4 will jump to that time position and start playing. When the timecode is stopped, the DR4 stops and flashes No LTC. It is quite often the case that you might want a particular piece of music that was recorded at a particular time location to play back at another time to coincide with some video. For instance, the timecode on your video may have started at 1 hour, while your music may have started at 0 hours 10 seconds. It's possible to offset or change any time on the DR4 to match any other time. First, find the exact start of your music. Let's say it's at 10 seconds. Now press the Store Enter key and then press the Reset key twice. You can now enter a time into the display of, say, 1 hour. Press the Enter key to lock it in. The LED will light showing you are now on relative time. If you start the timecode source, the music will be correctly synced at 1 hour. You can record in the normal way while synced to timecode, but the DR4 must be receiving timecode before it can go into record. so it's best to start the timecode source ahead of where you want to record, then punch in manually or use the auto punch to go into record. There are a number of other functions that are accessed by pressing the submenu key. These allow you to set various parameters. To access any of these, you must first press the submenu key. We've already discussed setting the sampling rate with the FS key. The key next to it is used for turning de-emphasis on for the digital inputs. Emphasis is a high-frequency boost used by older digital machines as a form of noise reduction. If you're recording digitally from an older digital format, consult the manual for specific instructions. The align function is used to optimize or defragment data on the disk. If you've made lots of edits over a period of time or shuffled material around, it's possible for data on the disk to get fragmented. When this happens, the second LED on the left side of the DR4 will glow steadily instead of flashing. The DR4 may seem to get slower in its operation, or you might get an error message. When this happens, you need to align the disk. Press the align key, then enter. The display will say sure, and if you are, press enter again. The disk will go through the alignment process, and when it is done, it will say success. This function is non-destructive, so your recordings will not be changed. The memory key has two functions associated with it. By pressing the memory key, the display will show the total number of track minutes on an empty disk. Then by pressing any combination of record keys, you can see the remaining time on the disk if you're using 1 track, 2 tracks, 3 tracks, or 4 tracks. The disk function simply shows you what SCSI address any connected disks are on. This is useful if you have several disks and need to find a new SCSI address that doesn't conflict with other disks. The offset key allows you to enter a fixed time offset from 0. You can also enter in negative time offsets. After pressing the offset key, use the keypad to enter in the offset time. The D-in or digital in key selects which digital input you want for either tracks 1 and 2, or 3 and 4 if you have the second digital I/O installed. The choices are XLR, which is usually for professional machines, or RCA, which is usually for consumer machines such as a CD player. Press enter to lock in your choice. The D-out or digital out key selects which digital format you will send out of the DR4 to an external digital device. The choices are Type 1, which is the professional AES EBU format, or Type 2, which is the consumer SP-DIF format. It's important to have this set to the correct position to work with certain digital devices such as DAT recorders. Press enter to lock in your choice. The submenu key labeled Format actually has two hard disk related functions, Format and Erase. Before a disk can be used with the DR4, it must be formatted. If you bought a DR4 with a factory installed disk, it was already formatted. A disk only needs to be formatted once. If you need to completely wipe a disk clean, the erase function under this key completely erases the disk. Please note that both of these functions are not undoable. If you need to erase just a section of the disk, use the erase under the edit menu, which you can undo. To erase the disk, press submenu and then the format key. The display shows ID all. You can use the keypad or wheels to select which disk at which SCSI ID to erase, but in most cases you want to erase all. Press enter and the display shows erase. Press enter again and the display shows sure. If you are sure, press enter one more time. The disk will be instantly erased and the display will show success. If you've purchased an external hard disk for the DR4, it must be formatted. Formatting arranges the hard disk to accept data from the DR4. The steps are the same as for erase, except that you choose format instead of erase. Press submenu and then the format key. The display shows ID all. Select either all or the SCSI ID of the disk you wish to format. Press enter and the display shows format. Press enter again and the display shows sure. If you are sure, press enter one more time and it will go into format mode. Depending on the size of the disk, formatting will take a little while to complete. When it is done, the display will show success. Hard disk recording systems must be backed up. Otherwise, if you filled up the disk, you'd have to record over material already there. The DR4 gives you the option of backing up material to standard audio DAT tape. It gives you the option of backing up the entire disk, including all memory locations and settings, or just the audio data between the in and out points. If you want to back up just a portion of the disk, before doing the backup, mark a new in point for the start of the material and a new out point for the end of the material. Connect the digital inputs and outputs of the DR4 to the digital inputs and outputs of your DAT recorder. Make sure that the correct digital input is selected in the DN submenu function and that the correct digital format for your DAT is selected in the DOUT submenu function. Set your DAT to record at 48 kHz if it doesn't automatically do this, because all DR4 backups are done at 48 kHz regardless of the original sampling frequency. To perform a backup, press submenu Backup. The display will show Digital. You have a choice of digital or SCSI, and as the procedures are similar, we'll show the digital backup. A SCSI backup requires the installation of the IB111S SCSI-B interface. It allows you to back up to external fixed or removable hard drives. Press Enter to select Digital. The display will show All. If you turn the jog wheel, the display will show In, Out. Select which option you want and press Enter. The display asks, Ready? Start your DAT recording, then press Enter on the DR4 one more time. It will say BA and a number. After a couple of seconds, it will start counting down. When the backup is done, it will say Success. When you first start the backup, the DR4 will emit a high-frequency tone. Then there will be a short burst on the meters. This short burst is sending out a header, including all the memory points and settings if you back up the whole disk. Then the digital audio follows. If you monitor the DAT, depending upon what is on your DR4, the audio may seem out of sync. Don't worry, it will restore perfectly. To restore or load your data back in, a similar procedure is followed. One important thing to remember though, the DR4 will not overwrite existing material on the disk as a safeguard for you. Therefore, the disk must be entirely erased using the submenu erase function previously discussed, or you must put the material you're restoring at a different location on the disk. If you restore to a new location, you will only be restoring audio. To do a load, press the submenu key and then the load key. The display will show Digital. Press Enter. The display will now prompt you to enter a time. If you are restoring the disk as it was originally and the disk has been erased, skip this step and press Enter. If you want to put your material at a different time on the disk, use the keypad to enter a time, then press Enter. The display will show Ready. Start your DAT machine playing, and the display will now count down. When the load is finished, the display will show Success. This concludes our DR4 instruction. As part of Akai's continued commitment to upgrade equipment via software, new features will be offered in the future to enhance the operation of the DR4. For instructions on these features, please consult updates to the owner's manual. Thank you very much for purchasing the Akai DR4, and welcome to the new digital world of hard disk recording.